Hi, how are you today? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about SHM CDs and what exactly are SHM CDs. I first heard of these compact discs quite some time ago. I was always very curious about one. I never actually owned one, but I recently got my hands on one because I just wanted to know, do these SHM CDs actually sound better than a standard CD? Well, I finally purchased one, I had a good listen to it, and I'm going to tell you all about that. But before I get into that, before I give you my opinions on SHM, I'm just going to tell you a little bit of the history about these CDs. So SHM was developed by JVC Kenwood, and SHM stands for Super High Material CDs, and they first hit the market in 2007. So they've been around for almost 20 years now. Basically, they're manufactured in Japan, so if you want to buy one, 9 times out of 10 you have to buy them as an import. Basically, to sort of look at the technical aspect of SHM, instead of using regular polycarbonate, they use a higher quality polycarbonate developed for LCD screens. And because they use this higher quality polycarbonate, it more precisely forms the data pits. And basically on the surface of the CD there are tiny little pits that hold the data that the laser reads to produce the music. And because it more precisely forms the data pits, it better focuses the playback laser for a more accurate reading, and therefore gives you better quality reproduction. Now, as I mentioned, if you want to buy one of these SHM CDs, they are an import, and to that end, they usually cost more. I've looked at SHM CDs on places like eBay and Discogs, and I find on average, usually they run anywhere from, I don't know, $30 to $50 and up, and that's $30 to $50 US. So again, I never heard SHM. I had no idea what they sounded like or if they were any better than a regular CD, so I wanted to get one. And of course, I wanted to buy some music on SHM that I was very, very familiar with. So I've mentioned before on this channel that I'm a very big fan of the new wave band ABC. I've loved their music since 1982. I'm a diehard, obsessive fan. I have all their albums. I'm very, very familiar with their music. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do a sound test of SHM, I should buy something by ABC because I'm very familiar with the music. So basically, this is what I got. As you see here on your screen, this is basically a greatest hits compilation that ABC released. This compilation actually first came out in 1990, so quite some time ago, but this is the SHM version. So over here we have, you collectors know that this is called an OB strip, which comes with most Japanese releases, so I'm just going to put that aside for a moment. But basically the CD itself is pretty standard looking. I'll just open it up here and show you. So there's what the CD itself looks like. Okay, and I'll take a quick look at the actual booklet. So I love these Japanese releases. If you're a collector like me, if you collect vinyl or CDs or what have you, I find Japanese releases always very interesting. So when you open up the booklet, you basically have all the lyrics. Well, there's a little insert that has all the song lyrics in Japanese, so that's kind of cool. And we have pictures of all the ABC albums. And there's looks like a little write-up about the band, which is in Japanese. And unfortunately, I don't read Japanese, so I don't understand it. And basically, yeah, there's also lyrics in English. Nice photos of the band. There's Martin Fry and Mark White. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, so that's basically looking at the packaging itself. So yeah, so I gave this SHM CD a good listen. I listened very intently, very closely. I took notes. Again, these are songs that I'm very, very familiar with. And if you know ABC, if you're a fan of 80s music, you're very familiar with ABC. You know all their big hits like Look of Love, Poison Arrow, All of My Heart, Be Near Me, When Smokey Sings, How to Be a Millionaire. Many, many big hits. And so I'm very, very familiar with these songs. So what did I notice about SHM? Well, listening to it, I can tell you there's a lot more space in the stereo mix. Everything just seemed wider and more spread out, which I really, really liked. There was much wider stereo separation, and individual elements in the mix seemed to stand out much more clearly to my ears. Basically, there was a lot more depth. The mix just seemed a lot deeper and a lot more fuller sounding. And again, I really liked the stereo separation. Now, just to give you a few examples, I'm going to mention some specific songs. So there's a song called That Was Then, But This Is Now. And there's an electric guitar panned to the left in the mix. And again, I've heard this song on many different albums, many different remasters, and I've never heard that electric guitar panned to the left. I've never heard it so prominent. It just absolutely jumped out to me. So again, certain elements in the mix were really, really noticeable. The song When Smokey Sings, the saxophone really seemed to have a lot more extra oomph, just had a lot more of a punch to it. And I could say the same for the string sounds on One Better World. They just seemed a lot more prominent and a lot more punchy and just had a bit more power to them. On the song Ocean Blue, the lead vocals just seemed much more wide and more spacious. Yeah, again, in many songs I would notice that I could hear the reverb on the vocals a lot more clearly. And again, there were little elements in the mix that I never really noticed before. Also, there's a remix of the song One Better World. It's called the Pickering Park Mix. And there's actually a bass sweep, like a synthesizer bass sweeping sound. I never ever noticed that song before, ever, on any time I've ever listened to the song. So I will say that if you're a stickler for details, I think you're really going to appreciate the SHM version of CDs. Now, having said that, I really think SHM is for the diehard fans and the audiophiles. People like that are really going to notice a difference, but quite frankly, I don't think anyone else will. I think to the casual fan, to the average listener on the street, if they listen to the regular album on regular CD and the same album on SHM, they're really not going to hear a difference. But if you're someone with a very keen ear for detail, if you're an audiophile and you pride yourself on that, you are going to notice a difference. Again, a lot more depth, and much more cleaner stereo separation and a lot more detail. One thing I did notice, and I don't know if it was just my setup or my particular player, it seemed like the bass was quite muted. I had to turn the bass way up on my equalizer, and even then, the bass wasn't really where I wanted it to be. Again, I don't know if that's just my player or the equalizer I'm using or whatever, but it just seemed like the bass response wasn't as noticeable as I'd hoped it would be. So if you are a completist, if you're a real obsessive fan of a particular band, I think you're really going to enjoy SHM CDs. Again, they're a little bit more expensive, but if you are a diehard collector, if you're someone who, if you're a real completist and you have to own every single thing that your favorite band puts out, you're going to enjoy SHM, and I highly recommend it for people like that. For the average listener, no. They're probably really not going to notice a difference, but if you're a real enthusiast, a real obsessive fan, a real diehard completist, you will notice a difference with SHM. So to that end, I do recommend it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you can join us again next time. Please, as always, if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It really helps my channel grow and it's really appreciated. And please feel free to give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.